Shetani ashinde mfululizo. 5,000 types of lies.
The greatness of a nation.
To speak truth to power.
Hi guys, how are you today? Thank you so much for tuning in to Sikiliza TV. My name is Wilson Ochar and I'll be your host for today. And then in today's topic of conversation, we're going to talk about the viral post by Senator Edwin Sifuna, which has left many Kenyans asking tough questions, where he's calling on Kenyans to sign up for the Linda Mwananchi movement. But the numbers revealed seems to be raising eyebrows. And the question Kenyans are asking, is this really a growing revolution or an early sign that the momentum is fading? And so let's just watch this video from Senator Edwin Sifuna, and then let's break it down when we return. Let's just watch this video.
Hivyo mimi nataka mkae ngumu bwana. Mkae ngumu. Tukisema ni one time bwana, msifikirie ni mchezo. Na wanasema mnanichocha. Wanasema mnanichocha. Ati mtanitoka. Siku ile ndageuka nyuma nikute mmeepa hii. Nikikaa hivi ni hesabu kura zetu za Meru na hazifiki 10,000. Utarudi hapa tuangaliane, si ndio? Wangapi wanasema hii safari tutaenda pamoja? Nataka kuona mbele ya Mungu na mbele ya hii madhabahu. Wanasema mnanichocha, si ndio? Wanasema ni moto ya gazeti. Wanasema ni maji moto hawezi choma nyumba. Nataka nione kwa mkono wale ambao wamechukua kura hapa. Wale ambao wamechukua kura hapa. Kwa hivyo mkisema hii ndio Sifuna na tumeamua tuende vita, hiyo kazi ikipigwa nigeuke nikute mmetoroka nyinyi watu. Nikute mmetoroka. Sasa nimeambiwa uko na tent ya IEBC pale ya registration, si ndio? Nimeambiwa kuanzia jana kuna watu kama 100 walichukua kura, wengine walichukua juzi. Leo nikifika hapa nimeambiwa kuna watu 50 wenye wameregister leo. Hao watu.
Yes, so from that video, guys, you can clearly see that Senator Edwin Sifuna revealed that about 29,000 Kenyans have signed up to support the Linda Mwananchi movement. And at first glance, that sounds very impressive, but the reality of it is that according to the IEBC, to run as independent presidential candidate in Kenya, the IEBC requires at least 2,000 supporters from a majority of counties, and that amounts to roughly 94,000 supporters nationwide. And so this means that Sifuna is still far below the minimum threshold, and that the biggest shock is he himself seems to be suggest that he expected much higher numbers by now. And so when we get straight to the on the website, is that the website was just for mobilization, and so many questions were asking why was the website created in the first place. And the obvious strategy was that the website was for soliciting mobilization of all Kenyan supporters. It was a test of political strength, and so Senator Edwin Sifuna seems to be asking himself right now, do I really have the numbers to run for president? And so the argument is very clear, because it seems that Senator Sifuna believed that he had massive national support, but the data is now telling a different story, and because numbers don't seem to be lie, and in politics perception can lie but numbers don't. And so the next question is, what really went wrong with the Linda Mwananchi website? In my opinion, I think it's because Senator Edwin Sifuna seemed to have left ODM too early. The timing of launching the Linda Mwananchi party seems to have been premature, because Sifuna's support base was heavily rooted in ODM, and he left even before the national delegation conference of ODM was held. And by leaving early, he may have lost the structure, machinery, the loyal base that made him strong in ODM. And so politics is just not about popularity, it's also about organization. And Senator Sifuna seems to be learning about this the hard way right now. And so it appears that the support did not transfer. Yeah, he was enjoying a massive support in ODM, but that support did not transfer to Linda Mwananchi exactly, because the online hype does not always translate into real actions. And Kenyans may cheer you online, but signing up, voting, and mobilizing is a different game, which is Senator Sifuna seems to be realizing that exactly. Another reason why I believe the Linda Mwananchi website is going wrong is because the momentum was interrupted, guys. As you remember, previously, Senator Edwin Sifuna was scheduled to attend a rally, and then in Western Kenya, he announced that the political activities were cancelled and they were postponed. And according to me, this postponement of these rallies and activities really slowed down things and the momentum. And in politics, and you know, momentum once lost, it's very hard to regain that momentum. And we also remember the famous viral clip by Professor Barack Muluka, who seemed to also have given them a very interesting insight. They must have ignored it, but that postponement of the political rally, just as alleged by Barack Muluka, is now being felt by Senator Edwin Sifuna. And so the other reason why I believe this is going wrong is because of the mixed messaging and coalition confusion. And this is because some supporters felt disconnected. There was a lack of clear identity. There seems to be confusion between ODM roots and new movement, and changing political positioning seems to be creating uncertainty, and voters avoid uncertainty. So one thing Senator Sifuna seems to be realizing here is there's some Kenyan voters and supporters of ODM are permanent. They do not want to leave ODM. They do not want to move to another party or a new party. And so if you had anything to share with them, or any political promises you Senator Sifuna had for the Kenyan people, I think the supporters are clearly trying to tell him that you should have told us about these promises while you were in ODM. I think they were expecting Senator Sifuna to fight for his position in ODM, but that seems to not have occurred. And so when he was, because as you all know, Senator Sifuna's popularity came from opposing the broad-based government, and he also, his popularity came from being a part of ODM. And so this is the first time Senator Sifuna is stepping outside of the ODM shadow, and he seems to be expecting that he's moving together with the ODM support, but he's slowly realizing that that support base is still left behind, and so the other reason is the overestimation of support. Exactly, is that Sifuna himself hinted at this fear that Kenyans may hype leaders, then disappear when real action is needed, and this may be exactly what is happening. And you can see in that video, he's clearly telling guys, iskue mnanichocha, and that iskue tear gas inatupwa, referencing them in being in a political protest, and should the government decide to use excessive force like use of tear gas, and he doesn't want to look behind and realize there's no Kenyan behind him supporting him. And so he slowly realizing that the support of Kenyans was overestimated, and so that means he needs to recalibrate or re-strategize his plans moving forward. Another reason I believe is going on in Linda Mwananchi party, and what seems to be going wrong, is internal and external resistance. Because guys, let's be realistic about Kenyan politics. There are always competing interests. President William Ruto is a competitor. Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is a competitor. Dr. Fred Matiang'i is a competitor. There are so many presidential candidates, and they are all have competing interests. They have rival politicians, the coalition politics, internal disagreements. All of these are factors that Edwin Sifuna is experiencing, and he just needs to pinpoint exactly what is going wrong, whether it's internal, whether it's external. Only Senator Edwin Sifuna can be the one to tell us and identify what is going on, because any rising movement will face pushback, open or silent. And so it's never that easy to just start a movement and expect everyone to jump on the movement just like that. And so to avoid also not to be one-sided, the 29,000 supporters is not small. It's significant, and also it's still early. It's not yet election time. There's still time. In fact, it shows that there's some traction. It proves there is interest, and it gives a foundation to build. And so these 29,000 could be the most loyal supporters who could not wait to show their support for Senator Edwin Sifuna, and that if Senator Sifuna just applies more vigorous strategies and more approachable tactics, then the issue is not failure. It's just whether growth will accelerate or stall. And so the question many Kenyans are asking is, what should Senator Sifuna do next? If Sifuna wants to recover momentum, the things that he must do is, first things first, I believe he needs to rebuild grassroots structures. We all know that ODM is a strong party because of its grassroots structures. So if he can copy paste what ODM did on the grassroots structures, move beyond online platforms, go county by county, build local teams, engage real voters physically, then I think Senator Edwin Sifuna could be back on track with the momentum once these grassroots structures are set up. Secondly, I think he needs to clarify his political identity. Is he opposition? Is he reformist? Is he anti-system? He started off very well being in ODM. He was opposing the broad-based government. And so if he's opposing broad-based government, should he be seen with other opposing leaders like Kalonzo Musyoka, like Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and so forth? And so he needs to be very clear which side is he on, because if you see in that video, he kept alleging that it's the voter that is scared that are going to be bought before he could be bought. And so there's that uncertainty where the Senator Sifuna feels like the voters can betray him by being bribed. The voters also feel like he's going to betray them by being bribed by the president possibly and working with President William Ruto. And so that clarification needs to be out there so that people can know who Senator Edwin Sifuna is really identifying with. The third option I feel like Senator Sifuna needs to do is reconnect with his base. You know, Edwin Sifuna is popular in Nairobi. We need to see him reconnect with his base in Nairobi. If he's also popular in Western, he needs to reconnect with that. If he's popular in Northeastern and and Rift Valley and Coast, then he needs to reconnect with that base, and he must direct them to rebuild that trust. You know. Fourthly, I think he needs to turn the hype into action. Yes, all that hype that he's been getting, he needs to convert it into volunteers, into organizers, into mobilizers, and not just online followers. So we need to see he has a team of volunteers, organizers, mobilizers, the youth. This is the time where Senator Sifuna needs to show his mobilizing skills, whatever skills he has learned and gained while serving as Secretary General in ODM. This is the time he needs to put that skill into test. The other option, I think, believes he needs to form strategic alliances. I think, like I said, it's not clear where Senator Edwin Sifuna lies. Is he going to be working with the opposition? Is he looking to work with President William Ruto? Because politics is numbers, and he needs to form coalition partnerships and regional kingpins and strategic endorsements so that he can be able to gain that momentum that seems to have been lost. Another option I think he needs to do is to control the narrative, because right now the narrative is that his numbers are too low. He needs to shift and ensure that he's still building momentum. He needs to shift from that speech where he seems to be discouraged. He sounds discouraged. He sounds like he wants to give up. He needs to continue with those fiery speeches and encouraging the crowd to continue with the Linda Mwananchi support. I think one thing is he can build the momentum by using celebrities. He needs to use those who already have big social media following. He can use those to gain their support, and I think that's one thing to bring the numbers up. I think another thing is consistency and visibility, because from that rally and tour where they postponed and cancelled the political rally, that really showed that they're not consistent, and voters don't want to see that you're not consistent. So he needs to not have any pauses. He needs to be fully prepared to go in all rallies, and especially if it's scheduled, then he has to go. There should be no last minute cancellation, because this will ensure there's constant engagement in rallies and messaging, and politics rewards consistency. And so this the bigger picture is this situation reveals something deeper, in that Kenyan politics is entering a new phase. Digital support versus real numbers. Yes. Personality versus structure. Momentum and versus sustainability. And so on one hand, Senator Sifuna may have thought he could win this petitions and endorsements on digital platforms, but the reality is that he still needs real numbers, which requires going on to the ground. And so the question is also, when he goes to these rallies, what is the strategy? Is he using that opportunity to get more petitions? Is he actively asking people to sign the petition? I think the other reality is that some of these, I think the Linda Mwananchi website requires you to pay a small amount of fee in order to show your support. I think this fee also, some Kenyans might be very reluctant to pay this fee. And so if there's a way of him to remove that payment option for now until he gains the number of petitions that he needs, then that could really help, and he should start seeing the momentum growing up, because and not everyone will survive this online transition. And so, guys, yes, for the questions, I'd like you guys to let me know the answers in the comment section. The question is 29,000 supporters impressive or disappointing? Guys, let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts? If Senator Sifuna has 29,000 supporters, is this impressive, or is this disappointing for you? Let's not forget that his website was temporarily shut down. So that also slowed down the momentum, and he can also argue he could have achieved his goal by now if it weren't for the hacking and disruption of the website. And so you guys let me know if this is impressive or disappointing. The second question is, did Sifuna leave ODM too early? Yes, guys, let me know what are your thoughts. Is this exit of Sifuna from ODM premature, or is it perfect timing? I think we've discussed that the exit from ODM may have been premature, but I'd like to hear about your thoughts. So let me know in the comment section below. And also, can Linda Mwananchi grow into a national movement, guys? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think? Is Linda Mwananchi likely to grow into a national movement, or will it fail and we're going to see we're not going to see it anymore? And lastly, what should Senator Edwin Sifuna do to regain the momentum that seems to have been lost there. So guys, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Like to hear about your opinion. Let's see if we can give Senator Edwin Sifuna the right answers that he's looking for. All the answers could be right there with you in the comment section. So please drop your comments there, and let's share with all Kenyans. And like this video if you like the commentary, and if you've watched this video up to this point, thank you so much. I appreciate your views, and please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to Sikiliza TV for more deep and political breakdowns like this. And as usual and as always, stay informed, stay critical, and stay tuned to Sikiliza TV. It's been my time. My name is Wilson Ochar, and I've been your host for today. And thank you so much for tuning in to Sikiliza TV. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.